Is Bitcoin now manipulated like gold and silver? Or do you think this was a normal profit-taking sell-off? I'm going to lay out a case for why I think Bitcoin now, with the futures contracts for Bitcoin, is being manipulated down like gold and silver. Although, it was long overdue for a correction, but the futures contracts, which, by the way, are not settling in Bitcoin on the long side and basically favor shorts, and their cash settlement on the futures contracts, they're not allowing real price discovery. They're just a trading vehicle for hedge fund managers and others to short Bitcoin and make profits doing that. So it's not real price discovery with Bitcoin futures contracts on the CBOE, Chicago Board of Options Exchange, was started, I believe, a couple weeks ago. The more recent one was the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and I believe the NASDAQ is also planning Bitcoin futures contracts. None of these are actually settling in Bitcoin on the long side if you buy a long futures contract. And so, they're just trading vehicles to get extra trading volume for Bitcoin, so the exchanges make extra money off the Bitcoin trend, and then also so people can get short exposure. But Bitcoin today, it crashed a lot. This week it's down around 9,000, although today, after it crashed a lot starting yesterday, even more, the crash accelerated. Bitcoin was down almost 20% today. It touched, I believe, briefly under $10,000, and it since had a rally to a little over 13,000. Again, there's been people buying the dip, as a lot of friends. So are you buying the dip? Are you accumulating more cryptocurrencies on these dips? What are you doing? Why do you think Bitcoin crashed so much? I mean, in the past, a lot of these corrections were normal, but really for all of 2017, there weren't very many big corrections or crashes for a lot of the major cryptocurrencies. And so it was a very overcrowded trade. We were seeing on Twitter references for NFL players in NFL locker rooms lately. Everyone was talking about how much money they were making trading cryptocurrencies. The short videos I had made recently, talking about when you think Bitcoin would hit $20,000. Bitcoin may have briefly hit 20,000, but it didn't stay there. So a lot of the sentiment, I gauged this by, doing those short videos. I didn't say that Bitcoin was going to hit 20,000 immediately. I made that video asking you guys what you thought, and a lot of the comments were overwhelming that it would happen very soon, that there wouldn't be a major correction like this. So, that's how I gauge sentiment. And remember, just a couple days ago, I did a video saying that Litecoin could have a major consolidation period for maybe 5 months or so. So we could see something along those lines for these cryptos. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I don't know the future, but I do know long-term there is a lot of disruption going on, and there's a lot of potential for a number of these cryptocurrencies. So we'll see what happens. But Ripple was actually the only cryptocurrency last night when everything was crashing that was actually up briefly, and now Ripple's down a little bit too. So, there was people on Twitter who are just regular traders saying, hey, Ripple's better than all the other cryptocurrencies because it's not down, it's not crashing when the others are. Once the short start seeing, blood in the water, it's like sharks. So, now they're going to start attacking Ripple too, probably, at least for a while in the short term. But Craig Hemke, aka Turd Ferguson, you guys are not familiar with his work for the crypto crowd. You might not be familiar with his work if you're in the precious metals community. Last night, he put out a chart showing right here what once the CME started trading Bitcoin futures contracts, and, it wasn't exactly at the top, but basically it started putting in, I'll zoom in here, that you can see that basically it started putting down a lot of downward pressure on Bitcoin. And there's other Zero Hedge articles here that I'm going to attach showing that the selling pressure, that all the rallies, I don't know if it's individual human being traders or just high frequency algorithm computerized, traders, that anytime there's a rally in Bitcoin lately, it's being sold off with more and more selling pressure on the futures market. Craig or Turd Ferguson, either one, he doesn't really care. He updated the chart a couple hours ago, and so, this is just accelerating the crash in Bitcoin. For those of you in the gold and silver community, you're very familiar with this, that people can naked short and sell futures contracts of metal that they don't own. People don't have to deliver the metal. There's been a lot of settlement in cash for futures contracts on the COMEX and also the LBMA. It's been going on for many, many years, and it actually intensified in 2011 when gold and silver were about to break out and go to even higher levels. Gold should have been a lot higher than 1900 back then. And there's actually a book out from Dimitri Speck about the manipulation from the European Central Bank and European bankers, how they were screaming at the people at the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department when gold hit that high price level to, knock the gold price back down. It's called The Gold Cartel by Dimitri Speck. It's got high reviews on Amazon, so take a look. But it looks like, the Wall Street guys are trying to, manipulate this market because modus operandi for a lot of the Wall Street banks and a lot of the hedge fund guys is they look for ways to short things. So this is not true price discovery. In my opinion, this is, just fast money shorting. A lot of the financial professionals who don't own any Bitcoin told me that they were planning on shorting it, that I've, surveyed for the last couple months. So maybe they were buying these futures contracts and were shorting it. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think Bitcoin is now, and the other cryptocurrencies, but especially Bitcoin since there's multiple futures contracts on it, do you think Bitcoin is now manipulated like gold and silver? Or do you think this was just a normal profit taking? Because it looks like the downward trend is feeding on itself. Obviously, long term, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. I think I'm probably just I kept cash on the sidelines when I started my Litecoin position a few weeks ago. I bought my Litecoins at 101. And for the year, if you bought Bitcoin much and other cryptocurrency far earlier this year, you're still up despite these massive corrections. So are you planning to accumulate? So the uptrend, even though we've had, very cyclical bear market, a short-term bear market, really nasty corrections, I don't know if the long-term bull market in a lot of these cryptocurrencies has been fully damaged. So what's your take on this? Do you think that Bitcoin is now manipulated just like gold and silver?